Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever in the world it is that you are. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayer's Live, page by page reading and commentary of the modern English version of the Bible. So tonight we're going to get into the book of Numbers, chapter 15, which begins with the laws of grain and drink offerings. And as I read this to some of you, I am enjoying a very light cocktail, winding down from a very long and a little bit of an exhausting day, but a productive day, which is always one of the best kinds of days. Before we get started in tonight's reading, I am going to share with some of you a little bit about something that I'm very happy with when it comes to my life. Those of you who have followed me for a while, you know that I really enjoy living a very transient lifestyle. But with the enjoyment comes a few sacrifices that I've had to make when it comes to my belongings. I'm the kind of woman who likes to travel light because that's the easiest way to be. But you do want to have your creature comforts and you want to have everything that you need in order to be as productive as possible. At least that's how I think. But I'll tell you, um, I have definitely become a solid minimalist. And I always find ways that I can minimize even more so. And the only thing that I really want to minimize a little bit more over the next couple of days is my wardrobe. I have too many clothes. I definitely do. So I'm going to have to do something about that. But other than that, I was just sitting here appreciating life and giving thanks to God before I decided to come on here and do this reading tonight. And I was just looking around at my surroundings and I was just thinking to myself, I am so blessed that God gave me a certain kind of mind, a certain kind of brain, a certain level of intellect to where I can live my life on my terms the way that I've wanted to for years and have everything I need, plus have good people in my life, have a good relationship with my family, and I'm very blessed to be able to work doing what I do. I'm more blessed than I think a lot of people are. But one of my favorite items that I travel with, and I just acquired it recently, is a very lightweight treadmill. It's not officially a travel treadmill, but it's so lightweight that I can take it anywhere I want to go. Okay? Pretty much anywhere I would want to go. And it's motorized and everything. But I was setting it up in a new spot today. And I was just looking at it and I'm like, wow. Because one of my favorite things to do is to walk and jog. I used to be a runner. I don't run so much anymore, but I do like to walk and jog. And this thing lets me do it. And it's a blessing. You know, we are living in an amazing time right now. I'm glad that God's let things get here this far. Hello, Maniac. You think this is like a Christian AM radio station? I'll take that as a compliment. Sometimes I listen to Christian AM radio. Absolutely. I like the radio. Years ago, when I used to be a copy machine and fax machine repair person, when I was on the road, going from job to job, I would listen to a lot of talk radio. So it makes sense that I sound a little bit like a talk radio host. But, anyways, let's go ahead and get into the purpose of tonight's live stream, which is the book of Numbers, chapter 15. And as I said, while I read this, I'm going to enjoy a very light cocktail. And I hope all of you enjoy this commentary tonight. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and say to them, When you come into the land of your dwelling, which I am giving to you, when you make an offering by fire to the Lord, a burnt offering, or a sacrifice, and performing a vow, or as a free will offering, or in your appointed feast, to make a pleasing aroma to the Lord, of the herd or of the flock, then he who brings his offering to the Lord will bring a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of flour mixed with the fourth part of a hin of oil, 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering you will prepare with the burnt offering or sacrifice for each lamb. And as a side note, sometimes reading the Bible actually makes me very hungry. Because, of course, these are offerings, but you just think about the smell of the cooking lamb. I love lamb. And I know it's an offering, but I just think about lamb, fresh grain being turned into unleavened bread, wine. Sounds pretty tasty to me. God has good taste when it comes to what he's asking for in regards to these offerings. So let's continue. Or for a ram, you will make a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil. And I mean, this is the Mediterranean diet, just so you all know. I love flat bread dipped in a little olive oil. It's delicious. As a drink offering, you will offer 1/3 of a hin of wine as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. When you prepare a bull as a burnt offering, or as a sacrifice in performing a vow, or as a peace offering to the Lord, then shall be brought with the bull a grain offering of 3/10 of an ephah of flour with 1/2 a hin of oil. You will bring as a drink offering 1/2 a hin of wine, as a fire offering, as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Thus it will be done for one herd animal, or for one ram, or for a flock animal, whether from the sheep or from the goats. According to the number that you will make, you will do for everyone according to their number. Every native Israelite will do these things in this manner, in offering a fire offering as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. A foreigner who lives with you, or who resides among you throughout your generations, and would present a fire offering, a pleasing aroma to the Lord, shall do as you do. One ordinance will be for you of the assembly for the foreigner who lives with you, an ordinance forever throughout your generations. As you are, so will the foreigner be before the Lord. One law and one justice will be for you and for the foreigner who lives with you. Interesting. So even if somebody's from somewhere else, um, or from somewhere else, God's going to view them as he would his own, someone of his own tribe or his own group. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, When you come into the land where I bring you, then it will be. When you eat of the bread of the land, you will offer up an offering to the Lord. For the first of your dough, you will offer a cake as an offering. As you make the offering of the threshing floor, so will you offer it. Of the first of your dough, you will give to the Lord an offering throughout your generations. Okay. So basically, God is saying, no matter what you do, I would like a piece of it, especially from the first batch. That's reasonable. Laws about unintentional sins. This should be interesting. If you have erred and not observed all these commandments which the Lord has spoken to Moses, even all that the Lord has commanded you by the hand of Moses, from the day that the Lord commanded Moses and onward through your generations, then it will be. If it is committed by ignorance, without the knowledge of the assembly, that all the assembly will offer one young bull as a burnt offering, as a pleasing aroma to the Lord, with its grain offering and its drink offering, according to the rule, and one kid of the goats as a sin offering. The priest will make atonement for all the assembly of the children of Israel, and it will be forgiven them, because it is ignorance. And they will bring their offering, a sacrifice made by fire to the Lord, and their sin offering before the Lord for their ignorance. And it will be forgiven all the assembly of the children of Israel and the foreigner who lives among them, because all the people were in ignorance. If a person sins unintentionally, then he will bring a year-old female goat as a sin offering. The priest will make an atonement for the person who sins unintentionally. When he sins by ignorance before the Lord, to make an atonement for him, and it will be forgiven of him. You shall have one law for the person who acts through ignorance. For the natural-born citizen among the children of Israel, and the foreigner who lives in your midst. Laws about intentional sins. But the person who acts by a high hand, the natural-born citizen or the foreigner, the same reviles the Lord, that the person will be cut off from among his people, because he has despised the word of the Lord and has broken his commandment, that the person will be totally cut off. His iniquity will be on him. The Sabbath breaker executed. While the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man who gathered sticks on the Sabbath day. The ones who found him gathering sticks brought him to Moses and Aaron and to all the assembly. They put him in confinement because it was not declared what should be done to him. The Lord said to Moses, "The man will surely die. All the assembly will stone him with stones outside the camp." All the assembly brought him outside the camp and stoned him with stones. And he died, as the Lord commanded Moses. Tassels on garments. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the children of Israel and tell them to make for themselves tassels on the corners of their garments throughout the generations to come. And they will put a ribbon of blue on the corners of their garments." All right, so we're getting a little bit into fashion here. It's interesting to me how particular God is about the garments, um, how certain things were to be constructed that were ornaments and functional pieces of the tent of meeting for the tabernacle. I like it. I like it. I like that God seems to be very detail oriented. It's good to know. All right. And it will be for you a tassel, and you will see it. And you will remember the commandments of the Lord, and you will do them. And you will not follow the lust of your own heart and your own eyes. So shall you remember and do all my commandments, and be holy to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. And that's the most important part. God brought these people out of Egypt, and boy, have they complained along the way. Boy, have they complained along the way. The book of Numbers, chapters, I'd say 12 up to 14, the complaint started in the book of Numbers, chapter 11. That's when the people really started complaining. And God had to let them know, look, what I'm giving you is way better than if you stayed in bondage. So that's the end of the book of Numbers, chapter 15. I do apologize that I went several days without doing this reading. I just have been really busy over the past few days, far more busy than I normally am, but in a good way. In a good way. Usually, this time of year, I do find myself a lot more productive and a lot more active than I am in the summertime. Boy, am I glad that the summertime is over. I am not a summer girl. Not at all. I like the cooler weather at this stage. So, anyway, all of you have a wonderful night. Thanks for listening. I will be back hopefully tomorrow. And we'll continue with the modern English version of the Bible reading and commentary. Have a great night. Bye bye.